Good Thursday, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center taking a look at that current radar imagery. You see some showers around and cooler temperatures on the horizon. They're already out toward Blakely down to 48 degrees. Many of our areas, though, warmer as we're looking towards Star 57 at this hour. But that cool air mass on the way, and I know 57 doesn't sound all that warm, but honestly, it's about the warmest temperature we're going to see here for most of the time here over the next 7 days. So if you haven't gotten that rain yet, you might just want to step outside and feel that nicer temperature because it's really going to get chilly here as we look ahead in that timeline. I'm going to break it all down for you here over the next few minutes. So just stay tuned here on this weather update. But let's go ahead and take a look outside right now. We're going to start off with the Cedar Key weather stem camera. You can see what's going on there as we get out toward Levy County. And this kind of gives you guys a visual here. I know they're going to be getting into some of that moisture here pretty soon as we're looking out toward the west. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on. I know eventually we're going to be talking about that potential here with that moisture maybe overlapping with cooler temperatures here. Probably about 24 hours or longer away though, as we're looking towards some of the South Georgia counties, but not really concerned about that down toward our North Florida zones, which I'll show you here in a moment. Let's go ahead and get a little closer to that state line. We'll take you toward Leon County and Tallahassee now there in the Big Bend, and we'll show you some rain on the camera lens there at about 57 degrees. I know FSU basketball getting that huge win against Duke Tuesday night, and now win today against UNF as well. So they'll be traveling down to Miami where things will be a little bit warmer, but still it's going to be definitely a changing air mass here across the Sunshine State as we do look ahead and toward the timeline. So we'll be talking about a severe weather threat down there here in a moment as well. But let's go ahead and show you here now one of our Georgia cameras just to kind of talk about here at Georgia weather situation as we look up that way. I know you can see this is the Bainbridge boat ramp camera, and you can see here some of that rain up there, and they're going to be getting some cooler air even than some of those areas further down to the south, and we'll just have to wait and see how much of an overlap there is with that cooler air and the moisture here. As I'll show you, we have quite a few graphics here in store for you in terms of that, but let's go ahead and show you one more time FSU, my alma mater there in Tallahassee, and then we'll get back on over now towards some of our graphics that we have planned for here tonight. First off, I posted this yesterday on Facebook and on Twitter, but let me go ahead and show this to you guys again if you missed it here. It's pretty interesting to look at some Florida snow here. This was 45 years ago yesterday, looking back there in the timeline with this event. Also, Roy, as you look back toward the 18th, that Tuesday there as well, with some of that snow around, snow on the ground, people waking up to it as temperatures so chilly around for sure. And you can just see the snow there in that image there on the left, that snow on the car there, kind of telling a story. In fact, I'll point it out for you guys if you can't see it too well. These are some photos from a family photo album, so kind of showing you that. It's a little bit hard to make out, but I think you can get the idea here. And then you can see here even some footprints in the snow as well, kind of just showing you that level of accumulation there toward Hampton 45 years ago. This event even caused some snow down towards South Florida and Miami. About the only event they've ever seen accumulating snow from was this one back there 45 years ago. So definitely intriguing to say the least. But now let's go ahead and move along here in this. So talk about some winter precipitation that could be headed towards some of our Georgia counties. Now, not expecting anything like that. That's one thing. There isn't a lot of uncertainty, but that's one thing I can guarantee. We're not going to see a situation like that here this weekend around Stark, as this is a freezing rain forecast even. Only a 1% chance, really, according to the Weather Prediction Center, toward Tallahassee, of 100th of an inch of ice there accumulating, causing some problems. So really not too concerned again toward North Florida. Now, theoretically, we couldn't run a rogue renegade snow flurry here. That's something to kind of keep our eyes on as we look ahead here in the timeline. And as we look toward those Georgia counties, though, you see 10% chance of that freezing rain, Albany to Valdosta. Now, upward about 20% as we get closer toward areas there further up, maybe like Waycross there, and also over toward areas there around Sylvester, just that general vicinity there. You kind of get the idea as we kind of at least approach that area. Sylvester may not quite be in this, but you kind of get the idea here as we look, and then 30% chance really there getting further up toward the north, and there are winter weather advisories though as we get to the higher probabilities there. As I kind of try to go over these now, you can see the biggest threat will be from that freezing rain potential. So just again, going to be watching there for some of this as we kind of watch there upward on I-95. If you have travel plans, be careful because things will be slippery on the roads, and even a more significant threat, not necessarily 100th or to maybe a 10th of an inch of ice there, like we're going to have in that winter weather advisory towards the areas like Charleston, but maybe more ice accumulation, more significant ice accumulation to knock out power there in that ice storm warning area. So that's something to kind of be mindful of here as well, and just be cognizant of that potential there as we're looking toward Wilmington and Myrtle Beach. Things could really get nasty there, even in North Carolina's Jacksonville too. So there's a ice storm warning and winter storm warning, more mixed type precipitation, the freezing rain, the sleet, the snow, things like that. That's a little more common as we get toward that pinkish area near the top of the screen. Now that winter weather advisory, there is a decent chance here areas further down toward the south will be added into this. At least closer maybe towards Savannah, but potentially there as we get further down even towards some of our far northern counties. And if that happens, we'll let you know on Facebook and Twitter. Again, that maybe be for some minor ice accumulation, but any ice accumulation in this part of the country would be something that's pretty rare, obviously. We haven't seen anything like this in a few years, probably going back about 4 years or so. So you got to just be cognizant of that there as we look towards some more Georgia counties. Again, not really a Florida issue at this point, it doesn't look like, but our Georgia counties could have some of that, so that roads could be slick. So make sure you just take that extra time there, leave plenty of distance between you and that car in front of you, things like that. And if you can avoid going out, you might want to do so. As we also have the winter weather advisory out toward Mobile there. You see Baton Rouge. Now, New Orleans went under this at last check, but Pensacola, they're out toward Escambia County. They're under this here too. So going west on I-10, something to watch as well with this freezing rain potential here as we do look ahead. And there is also that severe weather side of things here. As we get later on there, you see tomorrow toward West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami, there is a marginal risk here of some severe weather. We're talking about damaging winds and hail more than anything. That tornado threat really not so too pronounced right now, but just make sure if you have relatives down there, if you're watching from down there, make sure the latest information is streaming into you or them so you can kind of get a handle on what is happening with the storminess. It's a 1 out of 5 risk, but the last 1 out of 5 risk was pretty significant with all those tornadoes along the west coast of Florida there, Charlotte, Lee, Collier counties. So I know the guard's probably up a little bit higher than normal with a 1 out of 5 risk here. Just something to watch down toward the southern part of our state. But now looking back here, 5 years ago, Saturday, this terrible anniversary coming up here, folks. And it's just worth talking about again because it's one of those generational type events that struck South Georgia there in 2017. I have a couple different images of the storm relative velocity pulled up from the various radar sites here. You can see that Tallahassee radar there out on the left side of your screen. Showing some of that rotation, folks. So you can see some of these brighter colors here, these greens trying to mix in with these brighter oranges and reds. And we really had a tight spin right in here, folks, right in this general area, really impacting folks. We ended up having 11 fatalities from that storm, 45 injuries underground for about 30 minutes total. The Barney 8L tornado, which was an EF3, and the maximum winds 140 miles an hour. Just so tragic there, middle of the night. The damage to the mobile homes there is so devastating. And then as we look here, this one was during the day, and this prompted the first ever tornado emergency as we look out toward this EF3 by the National Weather Service in Tallahassee. Excuse me, in Tallahassee there. We ended up having 5 fatalities from this one and 88 injuries on the ground for over an hour. As you see that estimated wind about 150 miles an hour. So as you really have that vortex there visible, you can see these brighter reds, these brighter greens that are mixing there. Radium Springs really hammered again. Mobile homes, the focal point of the damage once again in this scenario as well. Just always gotta be really careful in these situations. Mobile homes are places you really would rather not be if a tornado is coming through here, as these numbers really just so significant and so tragic here. That anniversary coming up, not expecting anything like that across our area here, though, in the short term, and that's good news. Hopefully we don't have anything like this for a long time. As you see on our enhanced Fujita scale here, the severe damage that was caused by these 136 to 165 mile an hour winds there on this scale, as we had, again, that first tornado emergency by the Tallahassee office, but then we had multiple PDS tornado watches as if you were in the Midwest, and then a high risk of severe weather from the Storm Prediction Center. I think we had one of those there going back toward the day of the Enterprise tornado, 7, Enterprise, Alabama, on the F4, that devastated a school there and caused fatalities as well in the Tallahassee jurisdiction area. Not in our covered area, but still worth noting for sure. I remember that day coming home from school and watching some of that coverage there, seeing some of that coverage from that local affiliate there in Montgomery. But you can see here, next 7 days, as again, we watch things carefully. I know watching all that coverage from Albany as well there during this event, just the devastation was visible. But again, you see that rainfall here. You can kind of see that over the next 7 days, a half an inch, give or take, toward North Florida, towards South Georgia. Amounts maybe a little less here at this point, according to this forecast, as we're going to actually have another weather maker coming through Tuesday. Now, this event here with the freezing rain, it doesn't take all that much precipitation, QPF per se, to produce the freezing rain threat here, folks, based on the different calculations. But still, we're going to have to watch things because of that, as again, it doesn't take too much. As you can go to cloudweather.com/radar for the latest look at things, the latest interactive look at things. We're not on the air. As we go ahead now and go over toward that planning forecast, you can see here I do have that low freezing rain potential highlighted here in this. 60% chance of rain tomorrow, 60% chance of rain on Saturday, falling on down here to about 10% on Sunday, 10% on Monday. As you can kind of see, those temperatures very cold. We're going to have some windy conditions around at times as well, so just kind of something to watch. But in South Georgia, there could be in our far northern counties like Pierce County, Georgia, maybe around Blacksea, or maybe around areas there in Nahana, for instance. You guys could have some issues. Brunswick, getting over, again, we already talked about areas there around Sylvester, maybe going up 75. There could be some problems as well, going up 95. Definitely probably a bigger concern now as we're looking off toward the east. Maybe some slick spots on bridges, and again, you're not used to dealing with that more than likely, so you got to be careful in these scenarios. But you see Tuesday, 61 degrees for the high, 60% chance of rain. And then as I step on over here, once again showing you some different things, you can see here 61 Wednesday, but then cooling back down Thursday there, and we'll still have maybe some moisture and cooler temperatures around. So something that's kind of interesting. Some of our models have shown some interesting things here, because when you get colder temperatures and moisture to mix, things can happen that are definitely interesting in terms of wintry precipitation, but not ready to go out that far yet. But we'll let you know on our latest full update here next Tuesday in terms of what could happen with the potential. But definitely seeing those below average temperatures persist. I know we're at 57 right now, and you see 57 for the high tomorrow, and we're not going to get that warm again maybe until Monday, give or take. Now, some spots will be on Sunday, something like that, depending on exactly where you're at. Even tomorrow maybe could get a little bit warmer than that here in Stark, but other areas, Georgia on Saturday, we might not get out of those 30s in some of our spots. That's how cold things will be there towards some of the northern counties. So gotta be cognizant of that here. We'll break in if necessary for that winter weather threat or anything that develops here in the weather world. But again, I'll be back with that next update on Tuesday, doing that Thursday schedule now. As we see that radar, the moisture around, and those temperatures are going to be falling on down. You already see some cooler temperatures toward North Alabama, North Mississippi, You see in North Texas there even getting some interesting features within the radar, not necessarily getting the rain, but I mean even South Texas, there's a winter storm warning that's been in play down there toward Brownsville, kind of telling that story that for now you kind of see some of that wintry precipitation closer toward areas there around San Antonio and even right there around Austin, for instance, the state capital of Texas. Stuff you don't generally see, so definitely gotta be ready for those impacts there because different impacts for different areas are something that you have to just be kind of mindful of because different weather events impact different areas there in unique ways for sure. So we'll be back here next week with the very latest. Otherwise, if something breaks though earlier, that's when we'll come on with the updates to protect you, your friends, and your family because we could have some icy roads here and isolated spots. Northern County, not a huge deal, it doesn't look like, but again, it doesn't take much to have some problems, so we'll keep you informed.